Hey there, everybody. I just discovered that we got some news regarding some Fire Emblem Three Houses stuff that just popped up, along with some new screen caps, one of which is featured right down there already. It was in, I believe, a Dual Shockers article. So if you want to see their write-up or more of the screenshots that I'm not going to show here for reasons that there's just too many. I'm going to link that article in the episode description, or this video description episode. I don't know what it is. This isn't a series, this is just a video. But anyway, if you want to check that out, I'll link that in the description. But we got some new gameplay info, and it mostly revolves around classes and skill systems, which is pretty exciting. But we'll get to that in just a second. So, first off, there are two game modes that we're definitely going to be seeing. It's going to revolve around casual and classic, as well as normal and hard. And so the big difference there, obviously, casual, there is no permadeath. Classic, permadeath exists. And then with normal mode, that's just the regular game. And then hard mode has kind of beefed up enemy stats that you can kind of mess around with. We also got confirmation that the game will be turn-based. I know that doesn't sound like much, but we have been seeing this weird kind of like raid, squad, mob kind of mode where you have like a whole group of units like rushing at an enemy or enemies. And we've seen that since like the initial trailer that we saw. So we don't have any information on that necessarily yet. But as far as I can tell, it will be getting that soon. It was alluded, and Nintendo alluded to the fact that they'd be sharing details about that soon. I don't know when soon is, but it may be coming up sooner than later. So we could just kind of cross our fingers for that. E3's coming, and then Fire Emblem Expo is also next month as well. So there's always hope. There is always hope. We also got the confirmation last time that you can use some sort of mystical power to turn back turns a certain number of times per map. So basically, it's basically confirmed that we have like a Milla's turn wheel in this game, similar to Shadows of Valentia. And it also was kind of hinted at that you'd be able to upgrade that ability, similar to Milla's turn wheel again. So that's kind of a game mode that's definitely coming back. We have absolute confirmation on that now. Terrain bonuses. Terrain bonuses are back. Isn't that exciting? So we have terrain bonuses, and we've also got these warp tiles that are showing up also. So we're going to have warp tiles that connect to one another to kind of take us from place to place. So the maps look kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. I've been waiting for a long time for a console Fire Emblem game again, and this does not seem to be like it's disappointing too much. And then, of course, along with terrain bonuses, we've got things like HP restoration points and things like that, which I would assume a fort similar to that would indicate that too. I get a very, just based on the information that is right now present, I get a very Shadows of Valentia vibe, and that's a really good thing. So I'm remaining ever hopeful on this game for right now, at least. So along with the information on the class changes about not resetting units level, we also learned that changing classes doesn't affect what weapons the units are capable of using. So it seems like once a unit learns how to use a certain weapon, gain a certain skill, or change a class, you can just kind of freely move between all of those things, which really kind of ramps up the availability for customization in this game. So not only do you have high replayability with three different, I'm assuming like kind of story modes with the three houses that you have to pick between, but you've also got this like crazy customization system that basically just lets you do whatever you want, which is really, really, really cool. I was kind of hoping that they would have that kind of like sandbox approach to it, where they just kind of threw you in. I was like, there you go, have fun. So that's obviously really, really exciting. Units learn how to use weapons by improving skill levels. So along with unit levels, you're going to have skill levels, similar to things that we've seen before. You can see on the screen there's an axe with a D next to it, so obviously your skill level of an axe is in a D. If you increase it, you'll be able to use C level weapons and so on, so that kind of mechanic is still around. Each unit can learn everything, but the units have all different kinds of individual stat growth. So, like previous games, obviously each unit has its own set of stat growths and rates, but everybody can pretty much be anything here. So it's kind of similar to Valentia with the villager class, right? Where you could kind of branch off into whatever, and then you had kind of a set path beyond that. Well, you could technically reset to like the villager class once you got to a certain point. This just kind of lets you bounce around everywhere. Because everybody is going to be either a noble or a commoner, which is basically like the villager class, like I said. It's very reminiscent of Shadows of Valentia, which is, I think, having just finished it and having it really fresh in my mind, a pretty good thing. So, it was also showed here. Let me hop over to this screen real quick so you can see kind of the skills chart. There. It was shown that there was a particular kind of skill called a short-range counter skill that has to be acquired. Now remember, everybody can learn everything, right? So there's that. But this is interesting because that kind of indicates that there's no auto attack. Like, if an enemy unit attacks you in any Fire Emblem game right now, you are going to counterattack for them, right? So they attack you, you attack them back on their turn. What this is kind of indicating is you can only attack, or counterattack rather, on your turn. So it's kind of like Revolutionary War fighting, where you just stand in a line and take turns shooting at each other, and you can't return fire on their turn. That's basically kind of what this is indicating, unless you have the particular skill. So think like close counter, distant counter in Heroes. Think about that. Except, these units are right next to each other. So that's kind of interesting. It may turn out to be something else. But right now, based on what we have, this is kind of just what it seems to be, which is kind of cool. It's also worth noting that exams are used to change classes and take into account the inclusion of certain skills. So exams are going to have a pass rate, which indicates the likeliness to achieve the new class status. Don't want to go there yet. Spoilers. I thought I had a different slide up, but I don't. So each class that you're going to try and achieve has a certain set of skills that are associated with it, and you have to have those skills acquired in order to do that. So, for example, for like a higher axe wielding class, you might have to have like a B rank axe skill in order to be able to take that. And then all these individual skills that are kind of meshed into this class change exam indicate, how likely you are to pass it. So that's going to be kind of interesting to see how they mess around with that, because it doesn't seem like you have to have a set number of requirements. It just seems like the closer you are to matching all those requirements, the more likely you are to be able to class change. But again, that's just me working off of a post that was translated. So take that for what it is, but that's kind of the direction that they seem to be going with. In true Fire Emblem fashion, which is kind of traditional to the original games, or the current games rather, in order to change classes, you will need specific items and reach certain required levels in other classes in order to promote. So that's basically what we've got here, right? So you have to be a certain level Pegasus Knight, and then you have to have like the Elysian Whip, for example, to become a Falcon Knight. Like, it's something like that, right? So that's more or less what we're kind of looking at here. We don't know how available all those items are, so there may be scarce resources in the sense that you have to kind of pick and choose who you're going to promote where. So everybody can learn everything. That's true. But based on item availability and resources, not everyone might be able to become the same thing, if that makes sense. So once we know more about that, we might have a better idea as to like how we can kind of plan out gameplay. Again, the replayability on this is going to be insane. Like, that much I know for sure. We also got confirmation that Byleth will take on the role of commoner to start, and Byleth will also be able to pass and take exams in order to change classes. So we're not like locked into a certain string with our avatar type character. And then we also got confirmation that Edelgard, Dimitri, and Claude will be starting as noble classes. So again, you're either commoner or noble. This kind of gives us an indication as to what our main character is going to be like as well. Units. You are free to roam outside the Officers Academy when you're not in battles. And this is the part that I was also kind of excited about and a little bit scared about. Because while I'm seeing like 95% good from this game, there's that 5% that's in the back of my head like, oh man, I hope they don't mess this up. And this might be where it is. Everything that I've talked about so far, absolute gold. Huge fan of. This particular function, this mode, has me slightly concerned, but not like to the point where I'd be like, well, this might ruin the game. But it also might. I don't know. It depends on the approach that they take with it, right? So this free roam mode outside of battle lets you explore the academy. And this is the time where you get to interact with students and improve your relationships with them, right? So C, B, A rank supports, that's kind of where this is coming into play. And then it goes on to talk a little bit about the students, where it says students are only able to train for a set amount of time before getting tired, meaning you have to kind of manage their schedules accordingly. And it mentions that Three Houses takes on a calendar and time system, which may actually come into play here. I don't know if it's real time. That would be pretty crazy if it was. But it likely takes into account game time. So it seems like you'll kind of have to manage student schedules as well, which this is where it seems like it's starting to turn into like a sim type game. And that's what I'm not necessarily a huge fan of, but I do appreciate a good resource management mode in any game. And this is where I think there's potential to turn it into like a bad dating sim or something like that. I've never played a dating sim necessarily, but I've seen a lot of bad ones, and I don't know. This bit has me concerned. Students also have a mood system, I guess. So there's this return to kind of like a biorhythm from Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, and that's what I can assume the closest relationship to this mood mode thing would be. And so the more stressed out a student is, the lower their biorhythm, basically. And they didn't really go into detail as to how that was affected in-game. But they did say that in order to improve your relationship with the students, you're going to be forced to answer questions by choosing between a couple different options. So it seems like there's a good answer, a bad answer, and a neutral answer. That would be my guess. And based on your answer to them, it's going to affect their mood and their support level with you. So I don't know if there's a chance that you could lower your support rank with them through this mode. I don't know if like giving a bad answer affects their biorhythm and like throws that off. There's a lot that's kind of up in the air about this particular function, and that's the thing that concerns me the most, because that has the most dating simmy-ish thing that I could possibly think of to put into a Fire Emblem game. So that's what I'm concerned about, right? Everything else looks amazing. You know, we have this kind of like sandbox skill mode where anybody can be anything based on you know, the required class change items. But this in particular has me concerned because I don't know what this does. And there's a lot of open possibility with this. Could be really cool or it could be terrible. And why would you do that? Kind of like that one mode in Fates. You all know what I'm talking about, probably. But either way, well, you know, I'm gonna withhold judgment until I learn more. Hopefully, they have more talk about this during E3, or we get more information that comes out during Fire Emblem Expo. It's worth noting that they have Edelgard, Dimitri, and Claude cards for free for people who attend Expo next month. So, Three Houses definitely at least seems to be high on the we're going to talk about this kind of scale. Originally, it just kind of seemed like a music festival type situation that they were just, you know, they had concerts and like you could buy merch and but it seems like there's a potential for them to actually talk more about this stuff than maybe I was necessarily aware of, or we were all necessarily aware of. So that's kind of where it stands so far. We got some new information, we got some good confirmation on things, and we have a possible dating sim situation going on. But I hope that's not the case. Like, I hope they don't bring like offspring into this. Like, I hope we don't have kids. Like, that would be weird. The fact that unless they introduce like some type of time jump system, kind of like they did with Fates, and I guess Awakening to an extent, probably. I don't know. We are messing with time. We do have like a turn wheel type situation, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I'm withholding judgment until we learn more. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, or to the side, or wherever they are. Let me know what you think about all of this. I personally am still super psyched about the class changes and skill systems. Like, that is really good for me. I'm happy about that. Dating sim, I don't know. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't. I do a lot of Heroes content if you're into Fire Emblem Heroes, or I do other Nintendo stuff as well. I've been doing a lot of general Nintendo stuff lately. But anyway, yeah, feel free to subscribe if you like. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.